All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakach Badash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Shalom to the men of the Lord that are prophesying, preaching, and teaching on the highways and byways in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, the hopeful elect, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that the Lord will have mercy on. Shalom. And this is another, Lord willing, a quick lesson just to confirm in the times that we're in, which is a time of the mark of the beast, where we basically have it's all but confirmed at this point. I'll just say that. So I'll title this that the mark of the beast will start with the global money system, and it's pretty clear after we watch this video here. And I'll try to skip through. We won't play the whole thing, but you'll get the main point of it. That they're about to get ready to roll on Jake and really to enslave the entire world via this money system, and it can't be any more clear than what it is right now. So with that, I'll read. I don't have too many precepts lined up, but I got Revelation 13 and 16 just to reread it. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, the critical thinkers out there, you could read this and say, how is he going to make the rich and poor, do it? Because rich people don't really have to do anything. They pay off politicians. They pay to stay out of jail. They're basically above the law the more money you have. And so you have to ask yourself the question, how are rich people going to be caused to get a mark in their hand? All right. The only way that this can happen is if they change the entire money supply. That means the money as you know it today, this U.S. dollar, is going away. The new currency will be a digital dollar, and it will be blockchain technology. Blockchain technology will literally have every single detail. It's these very long serial numbers tied to every coin, every unit of currency, and it's tied to every transaction. And Esau Edom's going to be able to categorize every transaction you make. He's going to be able to allow transactions, prohibit transactions. If they ban cash, meaning there's no more cash, even paper dollars, y'all niggas won't even be able to buy weed anymore, because nobody, no major store, no supermarket, nowhere where you can buy something essential like food or real estate or pay your rent will accept those dollars anymore. All right, so you can still trade cash if you want to, but you're not going to be able to buy anything in the B system with it. All right, so that's going to force everybody over to this new currency. So that's basically the context, and this is going to be a major thing that causes the entire world, as we read here in verse 16, to take that mark. So let's see what this guy has to say real quick.
Bretton Woods 2.0, the IMF's plan for total control. As you can imagine, this revolves around central banks, digital currency, and potentially a global digital currency from the IMF using SDRs. I'm going to explain this to you in 3 simple, fast steps.
Now, when he says potential global currency, we all know that this is prophesied to happen. This is what John the Revelator was seeing. All right, he was seeing the entire world being subject to one money system. All right, and now we have it. The IMF, they finally came out and said it's the International Monetary Fund. And a little history: the International Monetary Fund was created back in the 40s. This is like during World War to basically centralize all the central banks. You already had the Federal Reserve back in 1913, but after the World War, they wanted all of the banks to have all the countries to have central banks, and the Bretton Woods Agreement is what established this. And they not only established all these central banks, but they established the U.S. currency would be the world reserve currency. All right. So now you see the IMF coming back on the scene again, So this thing is all happening the way the Most High said it would happen.
Step number 1, it starts with central planning. Cowbell. That's right, it's just like the Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken. Oh, cowbell! These people at the IMF, World Economic Forum, and politicians, they see the world the exact same way. Whenever there's a problem, the cure is always more central planning. Just like the cure for every single part of that song in the Saturday Night Live skit was more cowbell. Got to
Right. So basically, what he's saying is central planning is basically synonymous with the beast because they're trying to get everything on a global, centralized system, and that's where you have the World Economic Forum spewing their rhetoric. You have the International Monetary Fund spewing their rhetoric. You have the World Health Organization spewing their rhetoric in the current pandemic. All right. You have the World Bank. All right. You have the EU. You have NATO, the UN, and the UN Security Council. These are global entities and mechanisms that has made all of this possible. So that's what they mean by central planning, and it's going more and more to central planning.
With poverty, no problem. More central planning. We've got a problem with clean air, not a problem. More central planning. We've got riots and looting. GDP is down 20% because of the cerveza sickness. Unemployment up over 10%. No problem.
Let's skip over
Bretton Woods. Keynes component of Bretton Woods 2.0 more viable. But how many petroleum products are used to create that one solar panel you have on your roof in California? I'm all for clean air, but it's a cost-benefit analysis. There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs, as Thomas Sowell has taught us many, many times.
Right. Thomas Sowell is a Jake. He's a very well-known economist, and he's referenced a lot. You know, when you read into like high finance and economics, his books are pretty good as well. He got a book called The Basics of Economics that helps you understand all of this. But you know, the long and short of it is that money, as we know it, is royally fucked. And all the money you have in your bank account, that's going to be very, very little very soon.
Of Bretton Woods 2.0, the IMF's own fiat currency is the SDR, Special Drawing Right. The genesis for the SDR goes all the way back to 1944 in the original Bretton Woods. Keynes saw Triffin's paradox coming in the future. He said, this isn't going to work. He was very hesitant about the dollar being the world reserve currency. He thought it should be something outside of any one country.
Okay, so you saw the dollar as the world reserve currency. Through the Spirit, I believe this is what's going to lead to Revelation 17, where it says, these shall hate the whore. All right? Because America is going to have enough power to piss everybody off, all right? and one of the main means by which they could do that is to have that their world reserve currency right now converted to the new digital currency. Because the new digital currency, like I said, it can track and it can restrict all types of transactions. Like if you pass over a certain amount of these new U.S. digital dollars and you said these coins can only be spent on this, then that's all those coins can be spent on. So imagine China's asking for money. They want to be able to spend on anything, but America is only giving them money that they can spend on, agriculture, or they can only spend on, real estate, like the beast will be able to do this. Like these aren't like regular dollars. It's not like it's holding $10 in your account. They're going to be able to dictate what those $10 can be spent on, and this is the power of the new blockchain technology. And I honestly believe if when America converts this is going to be one of the means that which they piss all these other nations off. All right. This is Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right. and that's what's going to ultimately happen. We don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but we can see the Heavenly Father working, man. We can see this thing pulling together. All right. And you have a precept to that in Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. All right. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Why? Because America has hollowed out all of the manufacturing infrastructure. America literally doesn't make anything but weapons. All right, all the manufacturing is overseas. It's in China. All the clothes are coming from the Micronesia, Indonesia, Malaysia, that area, the South Pacific. All right, the jewelry and stuff that's coming from Africa. The precious metals that's coming from China and Africa. They're importing everything, you know, and as a trade, these nations have been taking this fake money, but these other nations have been buying real resources with them. Okay, and they and they're gonna hate it when America gets burned up because they've been able to buy real resources this whole time with money that isn't even real. And this is what it means. It says the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. This is going to include the European Union, you know, that NATO alliance that we have. It says they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. All right, there is none understanding in him. So this is the start of it all, you know.
And if you're not familiar with what Triffin's paradox is, we'll put a link to some of the videos I've done recently in the description below. But basically, you got to think about it this way. The United States is about 30% of global GDP, but dollars are used in about 70% of the transactions.
Right, you see
So
that?
in order to create...
It's 70% of all transactions are U.S. dollars, even though we only make up 25% of the GDP. So what that means is when they do this digital dollar, that's probably going to be like 100%. America's going to have complete and total control. All right, and this whore is going to get out of hand, and the beast isn't going to like it, man. And ultimately, this is going to spark world wars, you know. And it's definitely going to spark Jacob's trouble over here, in America for sure.
All those dollars outside the United States, theoretically, we have to run a trade deficit year after year after year. We have to import all these goods and export those green pieces of paper so the global economy can run at maximum efficiency. The problem is it hollows out our manufacturing base. Therefore, we end up not producing anything of our own, and all the foreigners own our assets because they take those green pieces of paper.
So you see the wisdom of this place, how smart Esau Edom wants to make himself. He's so wise. He's got the high IQ. But look how stupid this is. He's literally given over all the assets to foreign countries. You know, he's been making weapons and threatening people. He's got the military, but also, I mean, like he can be starved out, man. You have 2/3 of all fruit and produce coming from like 2 or 3 states, man. California being a main one. The state that's catching on fire, you know, every year, and you have the nation's produce supply coming from there, man. So all the food supply is relying on 18-wheelers and trucks. It's just dumping pollution in the air when everybody could have farms in each state, you know, an equal amount. There's enough free land in America to grow food everywhere, basically. But the way that this guy runs things is totally inefficient, you know, and now it's starting to show. But they like to promote themselves as super intelligent, as wise. We created the electricity and the internet, and, you know, and all of this. But ultimately, the Heavenly Father gave you the ability to do that for your own destruction. The internet is out so this word can be preached, so this can reach the elect all over the world. And this truth is out all over the world, you know. So with that, I'm gonna cut this short, Akim, but I'll put a link to the video. This is George Gammon. It's pretty good, and Lord willing, y'all are edified on that. But let me get one last precept. This is Ecclesiastes 7:12. It says, "For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense." All right, and that's why Esau Edom is doing this. He knows that money is a defense for everybody, especially Jake's, because see, Jake don't understand money. He doesn't understand assets and resources and ownership. Ultimately, you see Jake on Facebook flashing these Federal Reserve notes, and you know, and he sees it as a sign of wealth. And women definitely see it as a sign of wealth. but they don't understand. They don't own anything. Even if you got 10 racks, 20 racks in your account, Esau Edom controls what you can buy with that money. All right. He's got the power right now to make $20,000 only worth a hamburger. All right, and that's what a lot of Jakes don't understand. And now he's going for the money supply because he knows money is a defense. It's a means by which you can live, where you can have a lower stress life. It doesn't solve everything, but it definitely alleviates stress. All right, you can't deny that. And that's the first thing he's going to attack. He's going to attach it to this vaccine first. All right, and then he's going to start offering to remove your debt if you convert all your dollars over to this new currency. Watch, and eventually, you're just gonna have to take the chip if you wanna buy or do anything. That could happen within the next year, Hakim. All right, this whole thing is coming together. It says, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So wisdom is always better. Always a better defense than money. All right. So that's what we have to remember as the elect. So even though we may be off the grid, we might get we might not be able to transact. We might not be able to buy anything. We have the wisdom. The scriptures say wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of our time. And ultimately, in this time in Jacob's trouble, that's going to be our major defense. Okay. Even though Esau is attacking the defense of money, we know as elect men what the Most High is getting ready to do, and we have comfort and stability. Our spirits are comforted knowing and seeing these things. All right, so with that, hopefully y'all were edified. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rachach Wadash, Shalom Wa'abad Babal.